all know a guy who only occasionally shaves for big occasions, and it's because that occasional shave really hurts. It's the time of year for big occasions, and yet there he is, suffering with that cheap drugstore razor. Let's help him out. Henson Shaving's line of razors, built with aerospace precision, deliver a smooth shave your dad, brother, and even son can enjoy, eventually. With replacement blades just 10 cents each, you'll buy it once and they'll use it for life. How's that for the perfect gift? Celebrate with 100 free blades on your first purchase, and no subscription headaches. HensonShaving.com/holiday.
Experiences are what people love the most about travel. That's why they love Viator. They have over 300,000 bookable experiences and something for everyone. Plus, their travel experiences have millions of real traveler reviews, so you have the information you need to book the best activities for your trip. Download the Viator app now and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking in the app. One app, over 300,000 travel experiences you'll remember. Do more with Viator.
Welcome back.
What's up, y'all? This is Reese.
This is Kafa.
Yo, get fit.
That's right.
You know what that means, y'all?
Facebook.
What?
It means Facebook,
Uh-huh.
Instagram,
Uh-huh.
and Twitter.
Make sure you stay fit with us.
That's right. Stay fit with Reese and Kafa.
Yes. So, y'all know what today is. Today is, I don't know if we're able to say it because we're Christians, maybe? Today's Halloween?
Okay.
Some people frown upon that name. Some people don't want that word to come out their mouths as Christians, thinking that you're cussing at them or something crazy like that. Yeah, I've heard some really, really, really harsh things about that particular word, let alone the day.
Okay.
Because I think the day is even worse.
Mm.
So what we're going to talk about is just the viewpoint of maybe how Christians feel about it overall, and what what people do, don't do, whatever else. I know for me, growing up, excuse me, as Halloween would come up, I don't know too many Christians that frowned upon it as much as they do now.
Mm-hmm.
I think even though they looked at it as, people dressing up as devils and all these worldly images, I think it was more or less just the fun of the kids going out, getting candy from, whatever, doing, just doing kid type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas recently, and not just within the last 20 years, but even before that, I think that Christians have started to frown upon a little bit more. And I understand that there are some other ideals about Halloween or Hallows, Eve or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that part, but I think that in as of right now, just like with Christmas, I think Halloween has become so commercialized,
Right,
that the original thought of it has changed.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point in time, they've gone from being Halloween to Hallelujah Night, right? So even now, what's interesting though, some churches that have Hallelujah Night,
Mm-hmm.
what's interesting, they still get dressed up.
Right. We attended a church like that.
Yeah. Like, how you gonna have Hallelujah Night, but you're still dressed up? I thought that was part of the reason why you didn't like Halloween. I didn't understand that part.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand that part. So,
I mean, again, I think a lot of it is just your interpretation of it.
Right.
Me, a little different. Was not raised in a Christian home. My mother and my father both thought Halloween was fun. So I do remember my father, who was an artist, creating like an African mask out of paper mache and chicken wire.
wow.
And straw, and him wearing that. He may have created it for some other purpose, but I do remember him wearing that and outdressing me one Halloween.
Okay.
I had the classic, 5 and dime Woolworth or whatever it was costume that was all plastic, that had the mask and the eyes that just never seemed to fit where your eyes were. I had one of those. But he had this man-made, handmade, nice costume. Now we would go out trick-or-treating, but we would just stay kind of like on our block, and the single hundreds and maybe up a little bit. And we only went to those whom we knew.
Right.
So that was the context of it. But to be in first and second grade, that was enough for me.
Right.
And up and down all those steps and so forth and so on. We didn't go out until later, it was actually dark, because back then we had changed the clocks prior to Halloween. Now, a couple presidents ago, they changed it so we don't turn our clocks back until after Halloween. So it stays lighter for the kids. But so I do recall that. I also do recall when I was with my mom for a Halloween that it was kind of like after E.T. came out, and I wanted to dress up with the white sheet just like E.T. And, so I had that. I had my princess moments. I've had parades down on South Street. Like, we went all out just doing that. Again, I guess maybe coming from an artistic family, that was a way of expressing ourselves. So my cousin would have fruit all over her head. I had tree branches all over, glued to my clothes or sewn on my clothes. Like, we, did a whole lot of different things when it came to some of the Halloweens. And as you said, as I got into Christianity, it was kind of like frowned upon.
Right.
So that was kind of a pagan holiday, if you will, and one that was not approved of and honored in the Christian households and places of faith.
Right. So the thing is that let's give the real history of Halloween. All right. So Halloween was technically, I guess, the Day of the Dead to some degree, right? And then because it was the eve before All Saints Day, which is actually November 1st. So I don't understand if you do not, if you did not celebrate the Day of the Dead, Ghost Rising, or whatever it might have been for October 31st, why not just concentrate on All Saints Day?
Right. I mean, in some of when I'm reading that they set bonfires and put out the jack-o'-lanterns and wore costumes to kind of ward off the evil spirits, because they felt as though evil spirits were raised up. So you didn't want to look like yourself because you were nervous that these ghosts and these spirits would bother you and haunt you. So you dressed up differently and wore costumes and had the lamps out to kind of so you could see what was going on, if you will.
Right.
So like you said, I'm like you, kind of like, well, hey, like, what's that all about? What's, why is it so frowned upon, if you will? And even with some of it with calling November 1st All Saints Day, that was a pope that called it All Saints Day. So I'm not, like you said, not quite sure. So if you're listening to this and you kind of have more information about Hallows Eve, aka Halloween, and All Saints Day, we're going to do our due diligence of doing a little more research. But if you can share a little bit with us, please comment and send us an email, whatever you got to do, so that we can become more educated about this, this topic and this day if you will. But I just want to say one other thing. I was listening on the radio a couple of weeks ago, and there's this petition. I don't remember what state it's in, but there's a petition going out right now that Halloween should be moved. That
Really?
that it should be moved from the 31st, because the 31st can fall on a weekday, and the children need to go out and party and get their things, and the young adults need to party. So they feel as though that we should change Halloween to the last Saturday, I think. Last Saturday of the month, and not the 31st. So this is kind of like not going with the whole All Hallow Eve and the All Saints Day if you change it to the last Saturday of October. So it's just a little interesting there. But,
So I'm gonna say this. In the with that, I understand, because of if Halloween is on during the week, people are trying to rush home. They want to get out before a certain time, and then get back home by a certain time. Because you still have school, you still have whatever else during the week, and because it's such a quote unquote holiday for these youngsters. Let's say toddler to maybe 5th grade, 6th grade. You kind of want them to be a little more secure in what they're doing. If you're out on a Saturday, it's easier for you to go out during the day. I know people kind of go when it starts to get dark outside. I mean, yes, that's the tradition, but I think just with the way things have been going recently, I think more and more people are starting to go out while it's still light outside before all the dumb stuff starts to happen. So in some degree, I understand that. And then it allows people to kind of let their schedules dictate, what's going on, because people do have a lot of parties, cabarets, and things like that, for that type of, for this particular holiday. I know, I don't know where this trend started coming from, but I see more and more, not necessarily weddings, but anniversary parties where people are dressing up for that particular holiday. So, which is very interesting. So that's I can understand it.
I mean, for adults, it's kind of like the masquerade type celebration, if you will. Like you're having a chance to dress up and put on as a character or whatever. But yeah, I did a little research. So there's a nonprofit that's out that wants to move it to the last Saturday of October and not call it Halloween. I guess Halloween could still be Halloween on the 31st, but the last Saturday of October, they're started a petition to call it National Trick or Treat Day. Okay. So, and some of the people who are behind this are the Halloween and Costume Association. So I kind of see that there's some monetary things that go along with this, because I think if Halloween is on a Thursday, everybody might not go out and buy costumes. Like, oh, it's Thursday, like we got stuff to do. Right. But if you have it on Saturday, then hey, there'll be a whole lot more big hoopla around getting a costume, because you're not worried about the following day of it being a regular day. So I wonder if that's what's pushing it. But getting back to what you were saying in reference to within the Christian realm and the Christian family, that Halloween wasn't looked as a holiday, but somewhere around in my teens that I recall, our church started having Hallelujah nights, where we would get together, we'd have games and candy and things like that. I don't recall dressing up for anything at first, but I think I remember like a couple of people dressed up like Martin Luther King or somebody like that. Like it had to be an influential person or somebody from the Bible type thing. And then I recall when we were, at another church, and we had children, that they had a Hallelujah night, and had games and lots of candy for the kids. And I think we fed them, and they had, hamburgers or hot dogs, that type of a thing. And it was fun. So I think what Hallelujah night became kind of from parents not wanting to take their kids out, knocking door to door. One, because you probably didn't know everybody. Unlike, again, my dad, when he took me out, he was born and raised on that block, so he knew everybody.
Right.
And everybody knew him, and they all knew me. So that was a little bit different and more trusting. I remember going out with my mom. I think I was in 3rd or 4th grade, and she had to raid my bag because she was like, oh, somebody had a knife in their candy.
Right.
And, somebody else had, their candy was laced with something. So it was just like, hey, all these things. Even like, I think there was things in somebody's apple. Like, it was just crazy on what was going on in the 80s with Halloween and people giving out candy.
Yeah.
So I think so when the 90s and the 2000s came around, we kind of took ownership of it and said, hey, no, we're going to still get these kids together so they're not out on the street and they're not out there getting candy that's laced with something, but still able to enjoy one another and have some type of event in that realm. So I think that's kind of how Hallelujah nights kind of came about. Again, community. If you're out there and you know how this Hallelujah night thing started, share your stories about, Hallelujah nights or Halloween talks.
Excuse me. But see, I think, as you do your research on this and you look at other churches who are really promoting Hallelujah night, a lot of them are saying, hey, we still have the cops here at the church. So it's a safe environment. Mm-hmm. Hey, you don't have to worry about, like you said, your candy being some type of way. You don't have to worry about someone trying to rob you or whatever else. Because, I've shared it on another show that I'm on, the Neighbors Podcast, where, for Halloween, I was jumped for my candy. Mm-hmm. So, and that's growing up in West Philly. So, that, when you have a situation like that, that's a little something that you consider, you think about, that hey, is it really safe out there anymore? And it's a little easier to manage to still celebrate these, this type of holiday that the United States really started pumping up in the between the 20s and the 50s, 1920s and 50s. Became a lot more commercialized, because right now that's what I think I read somewhere there's like the second most celebrated holiday behind Christmas in the United States. So so overall, Halloween, quote unquote, won't leave. Mm-hmm. Like, as long as people are making money, they're not going to fight to lose it. And it would take a lot for the church to really do away with it. So I see what the alternative would be. Hey, have a Hallelujah night. People can still have fun, come get candy, whatever else. But it also is an outreach. It could be a potential outreach.
Correct.
For
the community.
Mm-hmm. For them to say, hey, you know what, it's a safe environment. You can, still do your thing and come here.
Right. And it's a way, to help people know, hey, the church is fun. Like the church we are Christians and we can have fun.
Right.
So, we're not these stuffy old people going in this building and, whatever. That Christianity is fun, that is, is dope as Kirk Franklin always uses that word. So
yeah, right. You're right.
So, so that Christianity is fun, is a life full of abundance. And hey, we get together and we celebrate life. And that's what we're celebrating on this Hallelujah night, that you don't have to go out to knock on doors that you don't know who's there, that you can still get dressed up if that's what that location is saying to do, and you can still have the candy, because that's basically what the kids are all about, is getting the candy. But, have fun and have games and other things like that. So, I think it's a win-win. Like you're saying, Marisa, it's a great way to outreach, to network with other people. And, you might get somebody who normally wouldn't come to church,
right,
might come out that time. Think about all those who maybe just moved into the area, but they don't know the neighbors and where to go. So you invite them, come on, we're having a Hallelujah night and on Halloween. So come on out with us and we'll have candy and food and games and fun for all ages.
right.
Again, like you said, hey, even some of the adults like to get dressed up.
Yeah, they do.
They like to see the little kids scream and run away and, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's been our kids. That's been what they love to do, is just, oh, Mom, we have to get candy for Halloween so we can give it out to little kids.
Yeah.
Like they find joy in sitting outside on October 31st in the cold.
Yeah.
While they give out candy to little kids. So, I think it's a good thing. You know, it can be a good thing, like you said, especially if your church does not have a lot of children. That's one thing that you can do, is certainly reach out to the community, to your schools and things like that, and let them know that you're going to have an event that evening. And speaking of schools, I know when I was little, and we would have, on Halloween, you would have a Halloween parade. And we would get dressed up in our little plastic outfits and parade around the school. And I think they would have, give out prizes and things like that for the best dressed and whatever. And then you would go classroom to classroom, and get candy. I remember even when you would leave school, you would like stop at the pizza shop because you knew they would give out candy, and you would, like you would go different places on your way home from school because you knew they were giving out candy. But it changed not only in the church, but it changed also in the schools, because our kids didn't wear those little plastic costumes. No. They had to dress up as a vocabulary word. Right. Or they had to dress up as a famous person. Yeah.
So I think all of that, helps encourage not to think of things in a real dark place. I believe one of the things with Halloween, why it has such a negative vibe to it. Think about all these scary movies, Halloween, Friday the 13th, whatever, and just, it just lends itself to that whole vibe of, this dead mentality, right? And so when you think of Michael Myers, and the movie Halloween, because I think that came out 77, 78-ish, I could see where that would have changed the mentality of the church, because now it's like, all right, you're celebrating this from a very negative, evil perspective, where this person is getting up and doing all this craziness. So we have to put a different spin on that. Right. And, do I remember devil costumes? Not necessarily back in the day, but I do remember a lot of Freddy costumes, a lot of Michael Myers costumes. Right. When Scary Movie came out, a lot of hockey masks and things, like you could think of all these things. I mean, and think about Halloween being a night for pranking and, again, trick or treating. It's that's kind of a negative mindset also, being the trick. So I understand where churches are trying to not necessarily get rid of the holiday, but put a different spin on it. Like, hey, we could still do the fun part of this, which is the giving out candy and just being in a joyful mentality. So I totally get that part. So I would love to hear what y'all got to say about this, though. And how do you feel about the church and how they deal with, or your church, how your church deals with Hallelujah Night?
Tell us what you're doing tonight. Like, it's Halloween right now, so let us know what you're doing tonight. Tell us, maybe we'll come on out. So sure enough, leave your comment below, and everybody, just Let us know what's going on out there in your church or another church, or even what was going on when you were growing up.
Right.
We like to be able to compare and contrast what things were like years ago and then what things are like right now. So
yeah, most definitely. Let us know. Also, as a kid, were you allowed to go trick-or-treating?
Mm-hmm.
And has that mentality really changed for you? And how, what was there one particular incident that changed it for you per se? Not just, hey, did the church change it, but did you experience something, that was kind of a little different, so, let us know. Let us know, how it went down for you.
Yeah, so
Excuse me.
Leave your comments and don't forget to stay fit, everybody. Check out that Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Remember that we love you for real.
And be sure to continue to listen to us.
And tell a friend.
And share.
And tell another friend.
And subscribe.
And tell your cousin.
And make sure that you continue to email us.
Yes.
And message us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be a part of the show, let us know that too.
That's right.
All right. Any suggestions you have, we're open. And be sure, please, let us know about this Halloween thing for you. I'm really curious as to what you got to say.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Right. So, y'all, we love y'all. And we will talk to y'all later. All right, y'all. Peace.
We all know a guy who only occasionally shaves for big occasions, and it's because that occasional shave really hurts. It's the time of year for big occasions, and yet there he is, suffering with that cheap drugstore razor. Let's help him out. Henson Shaving's line of razors, built with aerospace precision, deliver a smooth shave your dad, brother, and even son can enjoy, eventually. With replacement blades just 10 cents each, you'll buy it once and they'll use it for life. How's that for the perfect gift? Celebrate with 100 free blades on your first purchase, and no subscription headaches. HensonShaving.com/holiday.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.